Yo, Holmes, and today we are going to talk about the psychological concept and ideology of egoistic altruism. We'll break it down into its components: egoism, altruism, and the combination. Let's begin. Now let's start with egoism. Going by the dictionary, it's the fact of being exclusively conceited or absorbed in oneself. It's basically a person whose actions or decisions are solely based on the consideration of himself. The purpose of solely serving oneself. Coming to the origin of the term, it comes from the Latin term ego, which means I, and its French version, which is egoiste. I don't exactly know what that means, to be honest. From there comes egotism. It came in English in around the 18th century, and from there came egoism. Now, the New Catholic Encyclopedia states of egoism as it incorporates in itself certain basic truths. It is natural for man to love himself. He should moreover do so, since each one is ultimately responsible for himself. Pleasure, the development of one's potentialities, and the acquisition of power are normally desirable. But sadly, egoism kind of has a negative connotation in the society. The people in general associate egoism with being rude and selfish. For example, terms like egotistical and egocentric are used to refer to rude, selfish people who don't care for others. But egoism not really about being selfish. It's about giving priority to oneself over others. Now, to demonstrate the difference, for example, an selfish person would make the extra effort of snatching something from someone else to make it his to benefit himself, irrespective of the negative effect it might have on someone else. An egoist, on the other hand, wouldn't do that, because that would mean making an extra effort onto someone else. An egoist doesn't do that. An egoist concentrates on himself. Like he'll prioritize developing himself instead of snatching something from someone else. So that's not really the same. And even if egoism seems like a negative concept, what we can't deny is at the end of the day, everyone is for himself. Like, even if you have people who care for you, there will be situations when you'll have to stand for yourself, or you'll fail. That's just how nature works. It's a survival of the fittest. Hard truth, bro. Now let's move on to the other breakdown, which is altruism. Now coming to altruism, going by the dictionary definition, and altruism is the disinterested and selfless concern for the well-being of others. Basically, an altruist is a person who prioritizes the well-being and needs of others over himself. Coming to the origin of the term, it comes originally from the Latin term alteri weak, which means in Latin to this other. Then comes its Italian version in some few years back, which is altri, which means somebody else. From there comes the French term altruisme, and from there comes the English term altruism in around mid 19th century. Now the term altruism was coined by Auguste Comte. He is the founding sociologist and philosopher of science. More about him in some other video. Now coming to the term itself. In fact, altruism is not just a philosophical concept, it also has its stance in biological and natural aspects. Altruism in a biological setting would be an organism performing a task that doesn't benefit himself, but rather benefits the other species, the other members of the species or even other species, directly or indirectly. Now, altruism comes from the concept that everyone is morally obliged to benefit others, because no one is completely self-sufficient in a way. We directly or indirectly actually depends on others, not even just our own species, for the survival of ourselves. And just as I mentioned egoism before, and as you know, as I'm talking about altruism now, you find it quite natural that they are often referred to as contrasting and polar opposite concepts. But there is, in a way, we can find a middle ground, because altruism in its true form is not that practical, and that middle ground is actually exists in some forms. And just like Buddha teaches us, what we need is the right balance. Balance is important. And coming to that balance, let's move on to egoistic altruism. Now that we have found out have the basic idea about altruism and egoism, before we move on to egoistic altruism, let me tell you why I think it's a lot more practical. Because egoism is about solely serving oneself, and that might seem a little selfish and even a little it might even seem not the right path to maintain the harmony in a society, and social harmony is kind of important. While on the other hand, altruism in its true self is not practical, because we also need to take care of ourselves. Even if we want to take care of others, without taking care of ourselves, we won't be able to take care of others if we can't take care of ourselves. And so there has to be a middle ground, a balanced middle ground, the middle ground that we should actually strive for. And there's actually two forms of it. There's egoistic altruism and altruistic egoism. Altruistic egoism is a concept that says that in benefiting others selflessly, we also indirectly benefit ourselves. While egoistic altruism is a concept according to which solely by serving ourselves, we also benefit others, indirectly or directly. Personally, I prefer the concept of egoistic altruism because it kind of suits myself more, since I'm an introvert and I prefer not to interact with people much, because that kind of draws out my energy. That's the whole thing about being an introvert is. So, in simpler terms, egoistic altruism is, in a way, about living by example. You see, when you live better than, when you do something, you find out a way to do something that's better than what others do, and you find a way to be better than others, it automatically indirectly forces others to be better versions of themselves and do stuff better than they are doing, so that they can catch up to you. It's more natural than it seems. In fact, it's very natural. It's a natural instinct for beings with a consciousness to try to be the better option in a peer group. And so, if you be the better option in a peer group, if you improve yourself, if you work on yourself, if you do something that keeps you above the others, it motivates others to catch up to you so that they can at least be better than others in their peer group. And this is kind of a ripple effect. Like for example, you belong to a peer group, you're improving yourself, and it's forcing your peers to improve themselves, and they also belong to their peer groups, with some group that you may not be part of. So, and that's how society is actually, and this ripple effect can indirectly improve the society. Let me show you my t-shirt. Haha. Yeah, I kinda love this idea. Now coming to personal experience, I'm pretty serious about having a eco-friendly lifestyle, and I try to minimize my waste and plastic waste, non-biodegradable waste, and carbon footprint as much as possible. Now I don't go around and force people to follow it, but over the years of me living with my friends, they have slowly caught up to me. They have started improving their lifestyle, maybe not at the level I have, but they have improved, and that's what matters. We can't expect to reach somewhere in a single jump. What matters is baby steps, and being better version of yourself. You indirectly make others to strive for being the better version of themselves. Yeah, I have repeated this term a lot, but that's the whole concept here. And with each baby step, everyone improves, and with everyone improving, the society improves, and with the society improving, the world improves. Yep, that's the concept, and that's why I love it. Now, if you want to expand on it, there's a good video by Kurzgesagt, which means in a nutshell in German. I'll add a link to that somewhere around here. And I'll also be posting all this stuff on my other social media platforms, my Instagram, so you can follow me there. Links in the description, of course. So once again, thanks for watching. Feel free to use the comment section to give me your opinions, what you think, how you have used it or plan to use it, your suggestions and opinions about what I should make a video about next. And thanks again. Hope to see you again. Till then, stay above the crowd and matane.